So we are here in Istanbul at a conference dedicated to mainly motor insurance. But first of all, let's discuss a little bit about the insurance market in Montenegro. What would you say are the main issues right now in the Montenegro insurance market? But also if you can give us a few details like volume of premiums, number of companies.
Of course. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting us to be here in Istanbul. I think it's a great event, and it's really good to have this regional cooperation between companies who share the same experience, the problem we are all facing, the same challenging. So I really think it's good to be focused on that, and you have our full support to continue with this work in the future. What to say about Montenegro? As you know, Montenegro is the smallest country in the area with only less than 1 million people, inhabitants of population. It's under the last census, it was 625,000 people living in Montenegro actually. So from the point of view insurance market, it's really small when it comes to the maths of the big numbers. But we see it could be rather than opportunities than being disadvantages of here small number of the inhabitants in the small population. Still, there is 11 insurance companies operating in Montenegro, despite the fact that they are such a smallest country. 5 of them are non-life and 6 of them are life companies. We are speaking about the volume of premium, about 66 for 2012, 66 million euros of premium around, because the final figures are not ready yet, but we got an increase, such a few percent increase from the last year, which is good. Yeah. And still, despite the crisis, at least that there is no decrease in premium, we have small increase in premium. Most of the premium is generated by the non-life market, precisely MTPL market is still dominated in all classes of the business. The more class of the business actually is the strongest is the MTPL, and which is, as we heard today, similar to the rest of the area. Life business actually is having something like a 10 to 12% of the market. We are trying to encourage the life business as well, but this is the long way to go, because it's not only connected with the insurance market, it's connected with the organization of the country, with the life standard, with everything. So I think it's really a long way to go. But one of the focus of the countries is really to educate people and to develop life business. Yeah. So as I said, we are now speaking about the MTPL market as the dominant class of the business in Montenegro.
How much of the market?
It's 50% of the market is dominated by the, roughly figures is 50% of the market is still dominated by the MTPL. So we are speaking about the premium around 30 million euros of premium. And its main fight among insurance companies is for the MTPL market and for the motor business in itself. What to say? Main challenges for the market is this moment. I would say that, as you know, Montenegro is starting negotiation with the EU about membership in EU. So it will be a lot of legislation, a lot of changes, a lot of challenges for the insurance company in order to satisfy strict criteria. We already started doing that by amending and changing the law. I mentioned that today, that the new MTPL law is basically providing the new limit of liability for insurance companies is going to be higher and higher in years to years, so in order to satisfy the EU limits. And it's understandable, insurance companies are very aware of that. That means there will be more exposure, and we have now discussion, and it will go on in the future. Is this a sufficient level of premium enough to satisfy this demand and to satisfy this high level of limit of liability? I said it's not going to be in one way, which is good. So country understand the law. When we prepare the law and speaking about the supervisors and the authorities about the law, is not going to be increased. The limits is not going to be increased one way, which is a good thing. It's going to be step by step. I presented that today. So 1 year, another year, and the third year. So we will see experience for these 3 years, and then we decide are going to get further up for the new limits, or maybe it's going to be some delay. We'll see. So these first 3 years will be crucial to see how the new increase of liability, limit of liability will affect the claims and the tariff system in Montenegro. So to decide what effect would be on the insurance market and plans for the future. That's, I think, it's really interesting for us. The main challenge in this moment that will affect tariff system, that will affect obviously all the reserves reservation for the insurance company, and I think this is something very interesting for us and very important in this various moment. What else we can say? Yeah.
The next question, it will be related to motor insurance. What you mentioned
already,
some of the main issue, but let's come back to this aspect. What are the main issue of the motor insurance market, which is dominated like in all the region? And
Dominate. Yeah, it's still. As I mentioned, that the new NTPL law increased the limits. Also, one of the important things is liberalization of the market. We heard that today on the presentation. It's obviously important for us because it's a setup in the new MTPL law that within 5 years' time we have to fully liberalize MTPL market, which is now during that period of 5 years, like a transitional period, it still will be controlled. So MTPL price premium will be controlled by the supervisor, but then after the expiring period of 5 years, so when it's 2017, market have to be liberalized, which means that all companies have to present their own tariff system, pricing, reserve for that, and will fight the market with their own pricing. So I think it could be also one of the very big challenge for us to see how we can fight that, or how market will react on that. Are these companies are really prepared for that? Is something what would be very interesting to see in years to come.
Coming back to the topics of these conferences, the main topic is related to bodily injury claims. How is this problem affect the Montenegro market?
We understand that because of maybe the lower limit of liability in the past, it didn't affect hugely the market. I mentioned that there is a discrepancy between the criteria offered by the court and criteria offered by the insurance company, but it didn't hugely affect the level of premium paid. This is probably going to change as we come closer to the EU and EU regulation, which means all the limit of liabilities will be going up and up, which means we'll open and create a space for the putting compensation for the bodily injury much higher than we have it now. So especially when it comes that we have in a system of compulsory insurance, it's not only with the cars. We have the vessels, we have the aircraft, we have all the means of transport covered with it, and there is much more exposure, especially on the bodily injury side. So I think that's one of the topics we will probably pay our attention in this year, probably 2013, and next year level of expectation of the increased bodily injury or the compensation for the bodily injury in the past. I think that's also one of the topics we are aware of that this could be in Montenegro market in the future.
Yeah, I think that probably one of the big problems related by bodily injury is the fact that cars that are registered in Montenegro are traveling abroad and causing accidents there. So payments are probably bigger in the foreign countries. How do you consider how important it is for you the problem of cross-border cooperation?
It is definitely, it's very important because it's not, we are a member of Green Card Bureau, but we are still under monitoring, which means we have provided insurance coverage, and there is enough capacity for the cover all potential claims. So it's not the problem. At this moment, it could be a problem in maybe next phases when it's like other companies, when the company is exposed directly for the claims paid abroad. But this is obvious the problem with our people in domestic insurance company who are settling that claims. It's normal. There is fascinating difference in the way of how his claims could be settled in Montenegro and how it's settled in Germany or Austria. So it is a problem which I believe would be more and more apparent, obvious. It's going to be more obvious in the future. But then, as I said before, we are actually closing the gap. Not coming down. We are keeping our limits up and up, which means we'll be more and more apparent that we have to put the level of compensation up. And I think it's going to be the 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 years. It's not going to be so high that it is now.
At the moment, there is an estimation regarding the year when the EU negotiation will be over?
It's difficult to say at the moment. You know, it's changing in political environment. It's changing. Even EU, you never know. It's some maybe optimistic expectation is 7 years. Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll see. It's going to be how it's going to.
So you have a lot of things to prepare in this.
A lot of things to prepare. I think, as I said in the beginning of this interview, it's going to be a challenging time for us. It's interesting, and it's a lot of tasks to do, a lot of regulation to adopt. The insurance market have to react promptly and have to be positive toward these changes, not keeping the strong, old-fashioned position. It's really have to open-minded for the changes to come in order to really get the place for the market and really set the position of the market as better as possible.
If you would try to convince a foreign investor to come to Montenegro, what would you say are the main highlights to convince them to invest in your country?
Any type of investment or general?
In insurance.
In insurance business. I would always say Montenegro is small population, as I said, but when you compare to the premium, level of premium paid now, it's penetration something like 120 euros, I think, or around 100 euros per capita. If you compare to the EU average, or especially a country like Germany, UK, or France, I don't know, where this comes close to the 2,000 euro, I believe, I would say there is a huge space here on a market.
A huge potential.
Yes, super, especially on the classes which are not covered. I don't think that MTPL business could be long-term investment.
Yeah.
MTPL business is now very interesting. Will always be interesting, but for the long-term investor, for really money, for the company who want to get money on a longer scale, longer scale, I would reckon that life business could be potential, and all other classes of non-compulsory type of the business which are still undeveloped, undiscovered, and trying to attract people to really do this. But then this is all the country's task to open, to create environment would be interesting for the insurance. I mean, as 90% of the market, on the non-life market, is dominated by the foreign companies. So it's already proved that foreign companies are interested in our market, and they are present, and they're doing the business in Montenegro.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.